I've forgotten what I'm going to say. Hi there, welcome to my review on the Line Audio CM4, which is this tiny little microphone here. So small, you might mistake it for a toy. As always, I've tested this microphone in the same way. I've set the peaks to be between -12 and -18, so that I get a noise floor that can be consistently measured between microphones. I've recorded 20 sentences between 1 and 9 words, testing character voices, sibilants, plosives, proximity, etc. I have then done nothing to the audio except for normalize each sentence so that it is between Luft's I of -20 to -24. That is so that I can compare the recordings to the recordings I've done with other microphones. There is, beyond that, no editing, no second takes. What that does mean, unfortunately, is there will be some distortion on the files. I've solved that problem now, but I recorded the microphone tests a few weeks ago before I'd solved the problem. So although there shouldn't be any distortion in this part and the end of the video, in the tests themselves, there may well be some distortion. I can only apologize about that. I am, given that this is a cardioid, tending towards even a wide cardioid in polar pattern, comparing it against my trusty workhorse of the TLM103. Let me just run through the stuff we know about that. It's got a well-controlled bass, but the roll-off starts quite low, so often needs a little bit of extra EQ. It's got a lovely boost to clarity, as you can see with the red circle currently appearing on the frequency response graph that's on screen now. It has a nice low self-noise, 12 dBA, and the noise floor I get in recording is about -66. It is, as you'll know if you've seen any of my videos before, my day-to-day microphone. I use it most of the time. I think it's particularly good for my voice, and I find it preferable to the more expensive and larger TLM103. It is £550-ish, I think including the shock mount in the UK, and $799 in the US. I am, of course, comparing that against today's tested microphone, which is the Line Audio CM4, and it has a slightly wider than normal cardioid polar pattern, so I have expectations that the noise floor is going to be higher than it otherwise would because it's going to be capturing more of the room. Looking at the frequency response, on the other hand, it's got an extremely wide and flat response. So I am, again, expecting the noise floor to be even higher because the bass rumble, which is going to be picked up really down the bottom end, as you can see with the circle now, that's going to kind of not be audible, but will be measurable. So the actual number for the self-noise is going to be higher than it kind of can be perceived to be. I'm expecting it to be less clear than the Neumann microphone because there is the lack of the presence and clarity boost. It's also got slightly higher self-noise of 16 dBA, and as a result, the noise floor I was getting when recording was -60. I have no experiences with this microphone. I got a hold of it because I'd heard really good things about it, and I was just fascinated by such a well-reviewed and such a tiny microphone because, if you've seen my earlier videos, you'll know I have a fascination for small and light microphones, especially short shotguns, which admittedly this is not. The Line Audio CM4 is £159 in the UK, $200 in the US, plus import fees. You'll need to look into that yourself. I think best off purchasing from Line Audio directly or one of their suppliers. I lucked out. I paid $180 for two and shipped one off to the US for Duffy Weber. I was, I've been very happy to keep the other one. So let's have a listen to the tests.
Cue dramatic music. Cue dramatic music. Or don't, we're not your mom. Or don't, we're not your mom. Crunchazoids. Crunchazoids. Now, imagine the perfect espresso. Now, imagine the perfect espresso. Precision is not an option. Precision is not an option. Talk to someone who gets it. Talk to someone who gets it.
I don't think we should go in there. I don't think we should go in there.
I brought you a spoon. I brought you a spoon. Oh, it's a lovely day to be a me. Oh, it's a lovely day to be a me. I'm the best magical dog. I'm the best magical dog. All are safe under my protection. All are safe under my protection.
Roll up, roll up, roll up, roll up. You just got mud on my shoes. You just got mud on my shoes.
I was never in the shadows. I was never in the shadows. Client said it'd be easy. Client said it'd be easy.
I'm going to count down from 3 and then...
Kill them all. Kill them all. She sells seashells by the seashore. She sells seashells by the seashore. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. They're right behind you. They're right behind you.
Okay. Now, if you've seen any of my microphone reviews before, you will know I also like to test out what the microphone sounds like after processing has been applied. So what I have done is I have recorded the first chapter of Winnie the Pooh, which is one of my favourite audiobooks that I've done. And let's have a listen to the 2 microphones doing that.
Here is Edward Bear, coming downstairs now, bump, 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 on the back of his head, behind Christopher Robin. It is, as far as he knows, the only way of coming downstairs, but sometimes he feels that there really is another way, if only he could stop bumping for a moment and think of it. And then he feels that perhaps there isn't. Anyhow, here he is at the bottom and ready to be introduced to you. Winnie the Pooh. Here is Edward Bear, coming downstairs now, bump, 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 on the back of his head, behind Christopher Robin. It is, as far as he knows, the only way of coming downstairs, but sometimes he feels that there really is another way, if only he could stop bumping for a moment and think of it. And then he feels that perhaps there isn't. Anyhow, here he is at the bottom and ready to be introduced to you. Winnie the Pooh.
So, what are my conclusions? Well, there are lots of things I really like about the CM4. It is stupidly small. I have a thing for small microphones. Funnily enough, it's not actually my smallest microphone, as it is fractionally longer than the MKH8 8050, but it is the lightest microphone I've ever owned. And it has a very pure sound. It's not exactly an exciting sound, but it's a very pure, kind of honest sound that says exactly, presents the exact sound it's hearing. You know, what you want from a microphone sometimes. Surprisingly, despite the higher noise floor of -60, it doesn't suffer too much. Yes, you can hear it on the "they're right behind you" whisper.
They're right behind you. They're right behind you.
But it is significantly less obvious than I expected it to be. The microphone is very resistant to sibilance. No idea why. And to my absolute surprise, I find it actually to have a bit more of a forward sound than the TLM102. You know, it really does surprise me. The big conclusion, I think that the CM4 is better than the Neumann TLM102. This is, well, was, when I did the tests, the first of multiple death knells for my 102. You know, you'll be missed, TLM 102. There are things I didn't like. I found the proximity effect to be decidedly boring. which of course makes sense given the slightly wider polar pattern means it will have less of a proximity effect. I also thought it was fractionally less clear than the 102 on the Piglet test. As expected from the lack of the boost at the top end, let's have a listen to the Piglet test now.
I don't think we should go in there. I don't think we should go in there.
And finally, I did find that the CM4 was very sensitive to plosives, even with a pop filter on. But that's it. There's not a lot I don't like about this microphone. So coming up in the next video, I am revisiting the Octava Mark 12, this time with a cardioid capsule rather than the hypercardioid that I used in the previous video. And I am very excited to see how that does. I will see you next time.